because it comes through your computer. Okay, so let's keep going. So my background is I've been working with corporates for the last sort of 20 years, worked at McDonald's for a while and then worked at Hewlett-Packard and Delphin. So I've had a bit of experience in construction and IT, but for the last 10 years I've really worked with small business, and it's been a real change from a marketing perspective because small business now can use some of these fantastic tools that enable them to really compete with larger businesses just because of the nature of online. So that's a little bit about me. That's probably enough. Today is about you really getting access to some of these tools and applications that are out there that enable you to be able to compete. And there's things that you really need to know about. I've gone in and had a look at a lot of your marketing challenges, and a lot of them are around lead generation or lead capture. So I'm going to focus on some tools around that. Capturing is, or actually getting someone once they come to your website is a really important thing, because we know that 70% of the buyer's journey actually happens before you talk to them. So doing that sort of thing is really, really important. So we're going to do that. We're also going to look a little bit at email capture and a content marketing integrated platform. So not just a website that's text-based, but how do you actually also incorporate other tools? We need to look a little bit at social media. Databases or content management systems are really important, and other things like landing pages and things like that. So we're going to dig into a few different things. Some of the challenges that you're bringing up, some of you are from startups, obviously getting found, and that's a lot to do with search engine optimization, but also it's just about basic things like being on Google Places, making sure that your site's well indexed. So we'll talk a little bit about that. There are a few different professional services, so whether it's dentistry or accounting, so also that's important as well, because being able to identify what's important there is really about being that helpful expert and resource. So that's important as well. Having an ongoing marketing strategy is important rather than just having a one-off thing. And some of you mentioned automation. We'll go a little bit into that. So yeah, there's a few things that we need to cover off. So that's good. And if you've got questions as you go through, we'll come to those as well. Okay, great. So let's go forward then. Let me just. Okay, so what tools do you actually need? There's so many different tools out there. What are the ones that you really need to focus on? And as you'll see in this attachment, I've listed 70 or so different tools, and I've put them under various headings. But before I go through and perhaps highlight a few and demo them, I want to actually focus on the key things that you need to be, keeping in mind when you're selecting tools. We're really lucky as a small business because we can choose apps and things, and then if they don't work out, we can quickly swap to something else. Whereas when you're in a bigger organisation, I guess the temptation is to put in one sort of enterprise system. And what I'm finding is often they become obsoleted or they're not integrated with other platforms, but you're sort of stuck with it. So the really good thing about being a small business is to be able to sort of plug and play and experiment. And then, you can always pull your data out and put it into another tool. So key sort of actions and things that you should be looking for your tools is to be able to choose where you play. So go where your ideal customers are. So if your ideal customers are on Facebook, then obviously you need to have some social media around Facebook. If they're on LinkedIn and you're a professional organisation, then you need to have tools that not only allow you to be on that platform, but actually help you manage that. In terms of building a connection or attracting customers, capturing them and nurturing, that's all around sort of marketing at this point. It's not really sales. A lot of companies are still stuck, and there were a few questions about how do I make my marketing budget work and how do I make advertising work. Well, I think it's least effective now. I think what's really important is for you to have the information, the tools, the resources that give your prospects a taste of you and a reason to engage, and gives you an opportunity to nurture them over time. Because we all know that we're, watching TV with our mobile phones and our tablets at the same time, and sometimes we've got a distracted attention span, probably like most of you now, doing 2 or 3 things at once. So because we know that is the case, to actually be able to nurture a lead over time is really important. And sometimes it takes sort of 8 touch points before that's possible. So capturing that data should be a focus. If you know how many people are visiting your website, and you should through Google Analytics, then you should know how many people you're missing the opportunity to nurture with. So we're going to look at nurture capturing tools as well, because that's really critical. I guess you should see your marketing as a hub, and that everything should be directed back to your website. I sort of put a caveat on that, because if you found that more traffic is going to your Facebook page, which is often the case with sort of retail brands, or if you've got a business based around a consumer, then you might actually have your Facebook page in the middle of this. But I'd caution that, because Facebook does have some limitations. I would always try and point people back to your website. And then if that's the case, you've got a number of sort of things that become a part of your sales and marketing hub. You've got social media, you've got being found and search. Reporting is really important, so you know what's working and what you should do more of and what you should do less of. You've also got lead conversion, which is around making sure that you're getting and capturing leads. And then you've got providing content, which we're going to talk a little bit about and how we do that. And I'm going to use some examples from people in the forum. And then building an ongoing relationship. And sometimes that's email marketing, sometimes that's SMS, sometimes that's physical direct mail. But all of these things together become the sales and marketing hub. So we're going to go into some of the tools within each of those. Before we do that, I guess the key thing is, the temptation is to be all things to all people. And I understand as a small business that if somebody's got a pulse, you want to market to them. But it's a really inefficient way to market. The most effective way to market is to really profile those people that you love to work with, the people that are best for your service, not everyone. And then everything you do should be around that. Even the way that you talk to them, not about you, but about them on your website. And that's a really big mind shift for a lot of small businesses that are used to sort of this push selling. And I encourage you to try and profile your customers and talk to them about their problems and not about you. So that's a big mind shift, but that will really help you as we go through these tools. Just a few stats that we know that people are looking on the internet, and they're looking at others, and they're taking word of mouth, or word of mouse, as some people say, rather than just the physical thing. So it generally does start with search, and then it moves on to asking other people, could go back and forth. There's no linear path for marketing, but certainly more and more of it, and more of us are looking online first, and we know that's the case. So what do we need first off? Well, one of the first things that we need to do is have a website, and most of you, by looking at your URLs, do have this. But I just wanted to show you an example of where I think marketing is going to. And it's a website that is not just a CMS or a content-driven marketing machine. I guess it's more so an integrated marketing platform. So let me just bring, this is one of the participants, I'm just going to bring up something called Bloom Tools. Now, I'm not affiliated with any software at all. I just go and find what I think is the most useful. And Bloom Tools is just one example that I can show you that is an integrated platform. There's not that many out there. The only other one that I've really found is something like HubSpot or Marketo, which is in the States, and it's quite expensive. So in terms of having one dashboard, this is a good tool. It's an Australian-based company. So most of you will have a website where you can get into the back end of your site. That is where you actually do the content. So that's called a content management system, and I'm just going into the back of one now. When you go into the back end of the website, you're able to edit pages, which means basically you should be able to go in and quickly, with the use of what they call a little widget or simple WYSIWYG, you can edit the text, add links, etc. Jules, I think we're getting a bit of feedback still, so just try going in to mute everyone. I'm just going to mute everyone again because it seems like a few people unmuted themselves. Okay, so you should be able to just add text. So that's no-brainer in terms of being able to add links and all that sort of thing. One of the things you sort of also need to allow for is having the ability to adjust the words at the back end of it. So things like SEO, that's really important as well. So this tool allows you to do that. For some reason it's not letting me scroll at the moment, which isn't handy. That's probably because I've got so many screens open. But at the bottom of this page, they will let you add things in like that. Now, if you're using WordPress, and I see a question on the side, this is like a totally different platform to what I'm looking at now. WordPress is more of a platform for, look, a lot of small businesses use it and they sometimes get it set up by somebody that's technical, which is fine. But the problem becomes when you want to try and do changes to it, and all of a sudden you can't because you have to go back to the person who created it for you. So while I use WordPress, I mean, I'm a bit of a geek. So if you're a small business, what I think you really need to do is get your website set up so that it can be easily managed. This is unfortunately just crashed. So let me just try and go back in. Probably because I've got so many things open, I'll just go back in. So I guess the key thing as a small business is to have something that's set up that you can edit, that's all in one platform. And while WordPress and some of the other platforms are okay, where they fall down is, being technical and this one interface. So what I wanted to show you here is this also has a CRM module. So many of you might be using something like maybe Salesforce, maybe you're using MYOB and just maybe there's something like Zoho that you might be using. But this actually puts all your contacts and leads into one platform. I'm just going to mute participants again because it seems like a few more have joined. So you can add in, I guess, for your salespeople, leads, activities, tasks and things, and manage that through. So that's a worthwhile thing to do. So that gives you another functionality in the back end of this. The other thing that I like about this toolbox is it's also got database marketing. So what's that mean? It means that you can pull in contacts, but you can also send email campaigns. So instead of using something else like MailChimp or Campaign Monitor or Mail or Constant Contact, it actually does it in here. And a lot of small businesses don't realise that you can track people from whether they opened your email, whether they clicked on a URL. You really need to be doing that now. There should be no real following up of cold leads. It should be warm leads. So of course you've got to capture them first. If anyone's not on mute, that'd be really good. I'll keep going in to put people on. Julie, maybe you can go in and see if you can mute people that aren't on mute. So you've got email campaigns, and I think the other thing about this is when you use something like this, you can actually set up a template. So you can set up a template so that individuals always get, certain social media icons. You just have to put the images and text in, and all of a sudden you've got really another website page where you can see if somebody's clicked on a particular offer, and then you can follow them up. You can also follow them up with an SMS campaign. So the other thing I really like about this is you can send SMS as well. You can manage your events, you can have articles, and do lots of those sorts of things. So that's really valuable. Keep having to mute everybody, which is a bit of a pain. So I'm just going to actually mute and not allow you to unmute because it's driving me mental. Okay, so that's one thing. So what happens if you don't have Bloom Tools toolbox? All right, so we're going to look into that because I'm imagining that most of you don't. Let's look at some other tools that you can use. Okay, so one of the other tools that you can use is, let me just go into it. I like this one. It's called Avita C. I'm not sure if any of you have heard of it, but this is one that I want to just perhaps do in real time to somebody's website so we can just have a bit of a look at it. So it's a free tool, and what it does is it creates, I guess, a form and an offer on your website. So many of you that I've gone in and looked at your website, it's very me focused, and there's nothing sort of saying, you know, okay, I can get some information about you, but why am I going to engage with you further? Not many of you are practicing this, you know, give something of value so that I'll come back to you. So what I wanted to do is basically just do up a little example of one so that you can see how you might be able to use this tool on your site. And I grabbed one of you, Gemma. Let's just log in as Gemma, and let's just preview this on her site at the moment. So I don't know if Gemma's on the line at the moment, but we'll just see if we can do a preview. Let's just preview a standalone of this. So basically I just put in a little bit of information, grabbed this site, and you can do this as well. It's pretty easy to do. You need to upload your logo and a few bits of code, but that's pretty much it. And then you can have a look at what it would look like on your site. So let's have a little preview. Let's have a little preview, publish, and see what this might look like on the site. So what it allows you to do is put a little widget on the bottom of your site asking somebody to connect and talk to you further. Now, if you're, I know a couple of you are video photographers, you might want to say something like, let's just put in Designer Candy. I've just done one for this, but you can put in anything that's sort of relevant to your particular site. You might want to say something like, you know, have a free consultation. Let me just move this down so I can pull it up, sorry. It might be something like, for Designer Candy, it might be a free sample if you want to stock it. So here's their site. And then down the bottom, you'll see this little contact button. It wouldn't have to say contact. It could say something else. So I've put on it, Let's Talk Candy. It could be that they want to have a little design consult with, say, a corporate client so they can design their own candy. It could be that somebody wants to request a sample or just even a callback. So instead of just going to the site, reading about it with no real call to action, very simply, and this really probably took me 15 minutes, you can use this software to do a pop-up that gives a call to action that's a little bit more meaningful. So this is a piece of software that's really easy. It really just needs you to go in and you know, customize a few call to actions, and then it's done. Let me give you an example on another site that I've set up, Kalani Homes. So there's a couple of real estate, I think there was one in here called Blue Property or Blue Square Property, whether they're actually on the line at the moment, I'm not sure, but we'll just have a quick look at Kalani and what we've done for them, sorry. So Kalani is a client of mine, really nice, clean site, but didn't have any call to action. So I put this little ready to build your new home on, and they could schedule a chat immediately. So at your own leisure, you could meet the builder out on site and help them find land with you, or they could call, and if they push this button, it can go straight through to a Skype line or a mobile phone. So they've already had, well, we've only had this up for a couple of weeks. They've had 3 or 4 people call through and leave and schedule. So it's a really great tool for a call to action. So I'm not going to go through and set it all up now, but it's fairly simple and it's very easy to add to any site or any email campaign, any Facebook page. I'll just quickly, because I think some of you will be going, yes, but that's too hard. Let me just quickly look at the one that I set up for Designer Candy in a little bit more detail. So basically, you'll go in and it will look something like this. You can just go into the edit mode. So it'll do the standard, and then you just go in and edit it. So say, for example, this was the desktop version. Instead of have contact, it could be something like let's chat, and that will change that button. I've put here let's talk candy, but if we didn't have that, we could have something like want a suite for an event. Talk now. And so what it will do, or talk to us now, that's a little bit too long, but you get the gist. And it will update that and give you, it's going to do it now in real time. You can change, the text of thanks for stopping by. You can change the call to action. So instead of a design consult, you can call it, preliminary chat about your finance, or say if I think some of you are doing video, an initial discussion about your wedding event or something. So it needs to be a relevant call to action. The nice thing is this then will schedule in the back end into your Google or Outlook or whatever you want, whatever platform you're using. So it's not dependent on you having a particular back end or website. It's really easy to use. So you can see that that's just changed that, and you can see that that text is a little bit too long. So we would just change it there. So, and you can customize the color, the font, all of that sort of thing. And then you can just put in the website down here and have a quick little look before you add it to your site. So, and then when you want to add it to your site, I'm just going to quickly show you this in more detail so that you can see. It can be easily added by a little bit of text. So you can go in here and it'll give you all the instructions, and it'll even give you people that you can talk to about implementing it. So it doesn't matter what your site is, it will be able to do that. So say if you've got WordPress, it will give you the information of how to actually log in and add it as a plugin. Say you've got Joomla, which some people would, it will give you the little text down here, and you can put that in, and we'll show you how to do that as well. So it's pretty easy. You can even just do HTML. So really easy to add to your site. And if you need any help with that, we do set those up as well and can help you, more importantly, with the call to action so that it resonates for your audience. So that's one app I wanted to show you just briefly. The next one that I wanted to show you is, before you even do anything like that, I think it's really important to have a look at your site and see how it's actually working from an SEO point of view. So this Marketing Grader is a really great tool, and I think it's worthwhile putting everyone's site through this just to see how it works and to see if your site's any good in terms of SEO. Let me just see if I can grab quickly one of your sites and just go down here. a list of people here. I'll just quickly bring up a site unless somebody wants to put in the URL, and I'll check your site out. So if you want to put it in the chat box, I'll check your site out. But let's put in Spa Organics Australia until I get someone. And we'll just leave that for a second. Let me just put in.
We've got some.
We've got one. All right, let's put in Bottle Brush Films. Cool. Okay, so all we do, and others, you can just put this in yourself while you're just putting the URL. So, what was it?
Bottlebrushfilms.com.au.
Okay, so bottlebrushfilms.com.au. And I'll just put my email address in for now, but I'll make sure that I send that off to you after this, just for the sake of it. So anyone who's watching, just bring up another URL and do this at the same time. And what happens is, what I love about HubSpot, even though it's very expensive for a small business, it has some fantastic tools. And what this does is it checks for things that really you may not have even thought about. And certainly, while there's lots of web developers out there, they're not really skilled in SEO or search engine. So what this will do is it'll check for these things down the side. How's it being found on mobile? That is are you on a site that's reactive, that it'll customise the look and feel? How is it for lead generation? Are some things that we need to be doing there, and how do we fix that? What's happening from an SEO point of view, and what do we need to do? So say, for example, here, have we got all of the images on Bottle Brush tagged, and how do you fix that? I won't go into great detail about that now, but obviously there's things that you can do, and it sends you a report of how to fix that. So, it's seeing a Facebook page attached to your site here, so that's great. But there's some other things that you might want to add, and you need to make that call. Sometimes you read it and go, well, you know what, that's not my audience, but it's still good to know, and it's they're really the leaders in this, so I think it's worthwhile having a look. Certainly having a blog or content that's fresh on your site is probably one of the biggest things that you can do to improve your organic, that is, people just coming to you because you've got good content, not paid on your site. And for me, most of mine comes through organic, but it does require effort because some people like to do the paid version. So that's something that you can do, and I'll send that report off to you, Bottle Brush, and others of you might want to just do that so that you can go through and have a look at where you could improve these things, and it'll give you a list, and then you can go through and check those off. So that's one thing that's worthwhile doing. Another thing that's worthwhile doing is, and at the end of this we'll go into this in more detail, we're actually launching a resource portal today, and you'll all get the email about that. And in this resource portal are lots of tips, templates, webinars, tools, the things that you can't be bothered finding that we've found for you. And you've got a few applications in here. You've got just resources where you can dig down deep and look at something that you might be struggling with. So say you haven't found a content management system or a CRM. We've got lots of guides and tools to help you do that. Perhaps you're struggling with how to set up Facebook. You can go into social media tab and look at the tools that we've got to make that easier for you. Maybe you haven't conquered, Google Plus, or maybe you're just starting to blog and you're not sure what to do. We've got some templates and tools in there for you to do that. So lots of marketing resources within this portal, but also we've also separated it. Perhaps you're a little bit doing it yourself, or maybe you're a bit more experienced, or maybe you're going to outsource this to somebody. What do you ask? How do you choose? So we've put what we think you need in this portal. So you'll get some information about that at the end of this. I just wanted to share that with you now. And because this is constantly being updated, we do have a 12-month fee, a one-off fee of $33, so that we can continue to make this worthwhile for you. And at the moment, there's 120 members in there, so you can chat with them. You can have conversations with them. We are constantly putting more information. So that might be something that you want to know about. The next tool that I wanted to go through was Wufoo. This is just an awesome tool. So you would have received some information from this tool already and probably not even known about it. Wufoo is a free form-based tool, and I use it a lot. So if you're going to have something on your site that has a form, this is a great way to start. You can create a new form. You just basically log in, start a free subscription to this. And within Wufoo, there's a number of forms. You can go in and look at the form gallery, and it will give you a number of forms that you can just use and then put on your website. So whether it's doing a survey, whether it's sending out an invitation, perhaps you want to do online orders, and this also backs into PayPal, so if you've got a PayPal account. But generally it'll be probably some simple form where you just want to have, say, let's subscribe to my email list. And so we could do this up for somebody online at the moment. Most people won't really want to just go to an email list, so you need to make it a little bit more enticing than that. Maybe join our list for tips and tools, but I think even more than that, it needs to be specific to you. So say, for example, you're somebody that does, and I think we had somebody that does landscaping. It might be, we, have collected the latest landscape trends, and you need to sort of, have something of offer for them. Then it's just a simple thing of customizing this by adding a field. So you can just add their name in, email address. I wouldn't ask for too much. It depends what you're actually giving away. So if you're going to give information that's really useful, then you can probably ask for a few more details. But generally try and keep it short, because people will drop off your list if it's not valuable. So let's say we just asked for that. The next step from that is setting it up so that it looks good on your site. So this will just come up to the top, hopefully. We'll just put one that's created today. So what we can do is we can grab a theme and create a theme to make this look good. So what I tend to do is grab a logo. Jules, do we have someone there from a landscaping? I think we did. Let me just go and grab, I think I did have one. Nice one from landscaping in there. If somebody wants to give me theirs, I'll put it in. I'm sure I had something like green, little green something for somebody. Little green spaces. They might be online. So Little Green Spaces has, a look and feel. I could just copy their image. So all I did is right click and copy their image, and then I can just put this in here to try and get the form to look, a little bit nice. It doesn't have to be totally right, and you can actually upload the particular JPEG, but just for the sake of this, we can make the background perhaps even look nice. We might choose, something that's in keeping with their design. So, it's a great tool for just creativeness. Could be something like that. And then we just call it little green spaces, which I kind of like the name of, but I would definitely put that through HubSpot to see how that's been found. And then we save that theme, and then we go back to the form that we had. Now remember, we're taking this on and doing it a bit fast, but you guys could go back and have a look. I'll just go back to the date created, and you can see here, even while we're waiting, you guys have signed up for this, and I can see how many people have entered that form. We had about 140 odd enter it. So we're capturing that information so we can go back to you. let me just see where that form's gone. Should shoot up to the top. Doesn't like me today. Date created. What did I call it? Just say join for tips and tools. I think that's what it was. And then we just grab that theme. You can see I've done a fair few of these. And stick it on that. And then we can have a look at it and view it. And so what it should bring up is this little form. So yes, that looks good now. We want them to go into that URL on your website. So how does that happen? Basically, we just grab, again, a little bit of code, and we can dump that in. We can embed the code, so we can embed it on your website. We can have a page. We can put it on Facebook. We can have it as a pop-up. And we can have it by email. So at the end of your email, you can add that in so that you're capturing data. So it's a really simple tool to use, a very powerful tool to use, and something that you need to think about. Forms are really, really important. So Wufoo is a really good one. I'll just go back to, content we looked at. That's having a bit of a meltdown. We've looked a little bit at Bloom Tools. We're starting in lead capture. So something that we would do is, put a form in your website, but also you can have a form in your newsletter that you create. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well in terms of the different forms. I've talked about CVita, but the other landing page or tool that I've found that's really great that I wanted to talk to you a little bit about is Lead Pages. So let's talk about that now. Lead Pages is, again, a free tool, and like the models, some of them start with free, and then you can use them, get used to them, and then buy the next level up, if you like. What I really like about Lead Pages is it's done a lot of the hard work for you. So if you're a small business and you're trying to do some sort of opt-in page, or perhaps you're launching something new, or maybe you've got a new product or service, or even just you want to capture the attention, these pages are pretty much done for you. So much like Wufoo that has some forms, or CVita where you can, or Vita-C where you can go in and use a template and adjust it. This is the same sort of thing. So at the end of the day, you can create something from what's there and sort of adjust it. So, they've got lots of templates in here. And the thing I like about it is it's really simple and eye-catching. A lot of websites don't have a call to action. So this has been based on what's worked really well for other people, and that it's been tested. So rather than go and do something for yourself, you can do something that's worked for somebody else. And so I've used this for the strategic marketing portal, and you'll see that later today. It comes through to you. So whether it's a sales page, whether it's a webinar page, an upsell page, something that you can use very quickly. We've used this one. I'm just going to quickly show you how we've used it so that you can see how to use it for yourself. So later on today, you'll be getting one of these, which is the strategic portal. I'll just go into this one. So we've basically built this using the template, and then once we've adjusted it, we can put it in lots of different places. So this was built using that tool. It basically talks about the portal that we're going to send you, and it has a call to action at the bottom, and then we ask for some more information, and we send you through to a Wufoo form. It sounds so complicated, but let me take you through it so that you can see. And once we've done it, then you can see we can put this on WordPress, we can put this on Facebook, You can even put it on your own website. Say you didn't have WordPress and you were using some other content management system, you could send it to your web people and they could upload a page. Really, really valuable. So let's have a little bit of a look at the portal so you can see what we've done. So I'm just going to edit. If you were starting this, you would just get the template, it would just open exactly like this, and then you would be able to edit it. You'd be able to drop in your logo, you'd be able to drop in you know, look and feel. It's just taking a little bit of time to bring it up. It will, hopefully. Here we go. And so this, again, runs in the cloud. So what this is it's an existing template. So this is the existing text. But say I wanted to change that, I can just highlight it and change it with a new headline. I can change the image. So I've got an image there, but I can click on it and quickly put any image. So this is the image that they had originally, and some other clients have had other images. So you could just upload your image and put that in. So it's fairly easy. It's just like building a web page, really. You can customize the text, you can change the font, you can add in links. Really simple, but you know that it's been built on something that's worked already. And I guess the thing that's really nice is it's got an opt-in format. So this is, I've adjusted this. So say if I didn't want email, I could take that out. The other really nice thing about this, and what you'll find is happening more and more, is integration. So let's just have a little look at this. With Wufoo, and I didn't show you that, I'm just going to switch between here. With Wufoo, a lot of these have rules or integrations. So let's just go into here. That's the form that I just created before. I just want to show you something. You know, I talked about at the start integration with HubSpot. HubSpot is a tool that integrates like Bloom Tools with lots of other applications. Wufoo is nice as well. It's actually owned by MailChimp now, and it can integrate with your email. So I would just put in the email, or if I was doing this for little green spaces, they would put in their email so that it would go to them any new entries and they could quickly action it. They could even put their mobile number in. So if somebody wanted to meet them out on site to do a landscapes consult, they quickly do that. But the other thing that they can do is they can link it in to one of their other applications. So say you used MailChimp, or say you used Campaign Monitor. You could connect that in to that particular application. And what it will do is it will ask you to authorise that and then log in. Now, we won't do that at the moment, but if you're using another application, you can. So that's what Wufoo will do. We'll actually connect to lots of different applications, and you want to look for that with any tool that you're using, and we certainly do that as well. So that's one thing you can do. Let me just go back a step, another step. Sorry, I'll just go back to where I was. Got so many applications open, I lost it. Yeah, here we go. Back to lead pages. So what this does is this can link in to different applications as well. So we can have this linked into a Wufoo form, or we can have it linked into really whatever you want. Let me just go back so I don't lose you. Whatever application you're running. Sorry, jumping a little bit. So in the integration settings, you can see here, and we're back in lead pages, it's got a number of applications. Now, I've set this up for MailChimp, but API just means you can integrate it with anyone that has a code like that. So you want to check that out on your with your software. Softwares now are becoming more integrated, so things like Xero instead of MyOp, or I use FreshBooks, have integration codes that you can use them with other applications, and that becomes more and more important as you're going to automate or do lead nurturing. So simple things that you might know to look for, but tools that you can use. So I won't play around more with this. I'll let you have a go. You can sign up. But if you need this done for you, of course, that's what we do. Just contact us afterwards and we can set this up very easily and efficiently, a landing page using this tool, and then integrate that into your website. So the next thing that I wanted to talk to you about, let's go back. We've talked a little bit about Wufoo. Some other forms here are Jotform. That's a really neat, easy one to use. I've also used FormStack, but by far and away the best one that I find is Wufoo. And you can follow all of these on this updated app list. So you'll see here I've got survey tools, but you'll see in here I've got Wufoo, SurveyMonkey, FormStack, and these are all clickable, they should be. But Wufoo is the one that I like the most. And again, they all start free, but if you're really going to use them a lot, you probably want to upgrade. And I think Wufoo is about $30 a month or thereabouts, maybe a little bit less depending on how many you have. Okay, so the next thing really is email marketing. Now again, if you're using something like Bloom Tools, it's all integrated, but chances are most of you aren't. So if you're using something like WordPress, you can often integrate MailChimp, although you can go to a plugin and have a simple email template. But I encourage you to use something because you want to be able to communicate on an ongoing basis with the audience or with people that are coming to your website or even coming in to talk to you and doing transactions. I mean, even if you're an accountant, I've set this up for professional services so that just before tax year, you're communicating with past clients. So I've listed a few there. MyEmma is a good one, but I really like MailChimp. I don't think there's a better platform out there. I'm not sure how many of you use it, but I think it's awesome and easy to use. So MailChimp has a number of templates and it's free to use. So if you've only got 500 on your database, then it's a really good, affordable thing because it's free. Once you get beyond 500, then there's either a cost per use or a cost per campaign. But there's lots and lots of templates that you can use. So you can just search in the templates and it will bring up what's in there, or you can also create a template of your own. Well, that didn't work then, but I've got lots of templates set up in here already, but there are lots that you can use. And creating a campaign is as simple as basically following the steps. And it walks you through step by step what you need to do. The real reason that I love it is instead of doing cold calls, you can do warm calls. So if you've got a form on your website using Wufoo or Cvita, you can then go back to that list with relevant, great information. Now, where do you get that relevant, great information? Well, you either need to create it or, better still, search it out. So rather than go into the depths of creating an email campaign, I'd rather give you some tools of how to do that. One of the first things that you should do is set up a Google Alerts. So just go into Google. I'll do this now for you so you can have a look. The reason you want to set up a Google Alerts is to find information that might be useful to send out to your audience. You definitely want to have a Google Alert set out on your name and your business. And the reason you want to do that is you want to see where other people might be talking about you. And because so many people can now review you, you want to see if anything's negative being said about you or positive. But you can also set up reviews on your competitors, anything's being said about that, or just your topic of interest. So little green spaces, I'll just do a little search here now. We would check. So because that's such a generic thing, it mightn't actually have anything specific about, for example, that business. You might actually have to qualify that and put landscaping in there. But you definitely want to have that in there. But because, let's say, for example, landscaping might be a topic, you might just want to create, you know, a topic on landscaping. And then, you know, everything that's on landscaping you can collect. You can collect it once a day, once a week. You can get sources from, say, just blogs, from books, from videos, or from all. And all of a sudden, instead of actually having to create content, you can curate it and then provide your audience with, say, a summary, a download, even a checklist of information that might be really useful for them. So if I was, say, Little Green Spaces, instead of just going to your website and learning all about you, and remember, I don't care about you, I really care about me. If I'm a residential home owner and I'm thinking about what I can do, instead of, say, having a design consult stuck in the text, I'd have a little pop-up here saying something about Bernie, you know, have a chat with Bernie, and I might even have a little download of some of the greatest little spaces and how to use a little spaced garden, and things like that. The other thing, if you're anything to do with design, landscaping, construction, one of the social media that you need to be on is House, because not only should you actually register yourself and put yourself on there, but a lot of people are viewing this to get inspirations and ideas. So Bernie, you might want to actually list yourself on there if you're not already, and then put the feed to that or the widget on your website. And there's similar things for professional services, but for design, architecture and construction, which is a particular area of interest to me, that's something you want to do. The other thing that you want to do is make sure that you're on Google Places as a business. Because Google owns the web, it'll make sure that you're indexed. So go to Google Places, if you haven't already, and make sure you're found, okay? So you can set up a business page, you can well, that's an ad, but you can actually go in there and set up your business to make sure that you're going to be found. That's pretty important as well. So that's another tool just in terms of setting that up. And because they index everything, you want to make sure that you're there. So just shooting back to email marketing, I think the key thing is to collect and curate some really good content, set up a template, and then pick one of these softwares to try out to start communicating on a semi-regular basis. Now, it doesn't have to be every week. Most people won't read it. But if you've got really good content, I send it out about once a month, and I try and make it as valuable as possible instead of sending it out once a week. And my email list is just tipping over 6,000 at the moment. So it doesn't happen overnight, but it's worth doing. Another little tool here is to Sumi, if that's how you say it, and that's to add some social media to your website. So let me just go in and show you how this works. And then we might do some questions if you've got some, George. Let me just put in my website.
Is it possible to create templates in Fusion software?
Okay. I'm just going here for a second. We'll do some questions, because I could show you apps and templates forever, but I'd really rather get practical. I just want to show you this particular app. This app can be downloaded, again, to any platform. It doesn't matter what you're in. And basically it puts some call to actions on your website. So nice little tool. You can go in and watch the website. It's pretty easy. It's free. Again, I'm big into free, but it also puts some nice little key actions on your website. It's just taking a little while to upload because I've got so many. I'll come back to that in a second. I did a presentation for Pet Association of Australia, and a lot of them didn't really have interactive websites. So this is just an example. Tips, offers, follow us. Use your website to actually communicate an offer. And I think another thing is to have testimonials sprinkled through your website. It's a really good idea. Don't just have a testimonial page. I mean, nobody really goes to the testimonial page. but you can get an app to scroll testimonials on your website. That's worthwhile doing. I touched on the website grader. If you haven't got Google Analytics, it's a really valuable thing to do, but only if you're going to use it. So if you're not going to use it, that's, probably not much good having it on there, although I still would stick it on there. But you need to look at it and see what's working. It's the same as sort of using MailChimp and seeing who's opening your email and then addressing that. Couple of productivity tools. I love FreshBooks. I understand now that Xero is similar. So this is trying to make your paperwork and your invoicing seamless. So it's worth having a go if you haven't and you're a small business. Dropbox, most of you probably know about. So that's online in the cloud storage. I know another one called Box. A really good one is Join Me. So if you want to actually do a screen share with a customer online, so say you're doing a consult but people can get to you, especially for professional services, Join Me is a really good tool to screen share, and it's free. Jing is a tool that I use a lot, and it's for just capturing images or text on screen, and it works both in a Mac and a PC environment. Let me just go back to my website. So you can see that I've got on here this V-Seater on it, and it clicks in. I'll just open it up now so you can see. It clicks in to my Gmail, and then when people are actually scheduling an appointment with me, it will actually show only those spaces that are available. It's a bit sprawling at the moment because I've got so many things open. So I've customised all of this so people can have an intro. They can look at how to actually add this to their site, and we can do that in a 1 hour setting so that they've got a call to action. We can do a marketing strategy session. We can do a branding identity session. So there's things that they can do straight away as a call to action as opposed to just collecting information. So that's something that you might want to consider. I was going to show you the other tool, but I actually might go to questions, I think. Let me just check where we are in slide deck because I don't like to miss out any information. Oh yeah, probably the last thing that I really wanted to go through before I take questions is your database. So many of you are probably using something like MyOld, or you might have Salesforce. I really encourage you that instead of just having customers or prospects in your Outlook, to investigate putting it into what I call a CRM or a database where you can actively manage information. And the reason I say that is you can't really look at something in your Outlook and know and follow up effectively. So investing in a CRM is it's almost a must-have. The one that I've been using lately is called Capsule CRM, but something like the Zoho, and they're all in the list. Salesforce is a little bit pricey, probably not necessary for a smaller business, but I really find that Capsule's great and it's easy to customise. And again, for 2 to 3 users, it's free. So I'll just quickly go in and show you what I'm using it for. It can be customised to your sales cycle. You can quickly, although I've done the paid version, which I think is about $20 a month, but you can quickly focus on your sales pipeline. So you can see what you've quoted on and what you're likely to quote on and add opportunities really simply. But what I like about this, let me just go into settings, is again, I always look for that integration. So in this tool, it integrates with the things that I use. So I use FreshBooks for accounts and it integrates. Same with MailChimp. And look here, same with Wufoo. It does the same for Xero. So having integration, and the reason that you want that is so that you can pull in data from another place and use that again to manage your sales and marketing. So a simple thing, but what's really good for me is I can quickly synchronize with, say, FreshBooks, which is something that I do my quotes from, and then know that I can put in that latest quote that I've done in here and track it. I can also do So I can add an opportunity in very simply. I can customize the steps that I take. I can look at, if I wanted to, have cases to log issues. So it basically performs a forecasting tool, a capture tool for all of my contacts. And just like lots of them nowadays, there's things that I can do. Try and get a perhaps a current one that I can link into social media as well. So I can put in things like their social media information. I have to go and look at that because it's not in this one. Another one that you can use that does a similar thing is called Nimble. I don't know if many of you have heard of that. It's really great in that even if you're not using it for a CRM, really, really good tool to find out more about your contacts. And I think that Salesforce uses this as well, in that if you go into Salesforce, which is a CRM, it'll automatically pull in for you all the social media profiles. So let me just have a quick look at this and I'll show you. You can just log in. Let's log in Google. Again, you want to look for something that can interface with many of your apps. I mean, Google Apps is fantastic for that, and it often gives you, I'm going to do it, so I'll just log in. It often gives you a good starting point. So if you're thinking, oh, should I invest in that app or not, a good place to start is to go and look at Google Apps, because if it's in the Google Apps list, it's probably going to be around for a while. Sign in. Why do I keep changing the password, Jules? Let me just try one more time if I can't get in there. There you go. All right, so the reason I wanted to show you this is it actually shows you how it links into social network. Again, it's free, so why wouldn't you be using something like this instead of just your Outlook? It just doesn't make sense to me. You can't search on Outlook as well. You can't export as well. So you can see with people that I've contacted with, and I can say whether they're an important contact, whether I need to keep them, but also it gives me their social profile. I can put in here and send all my messages from here. I can look at all my Twitter in here. I can look at Facebook in here. So instead of just looking at email, it gives me everything. Now I know if you've got a Google account, it will do that, but I kind of like this interface. It sort of, to me, is a bit nicer. I can quickly look at it. I can send a status update from here. So it's a good way of, I guess, even if you don't have the information on the person, you can add it. So say, for example, I wasn't, following John, who's actually the CEO of Nimble. I can quickly tick it and follow him here. So it's a kind of a nice tool to have, and I can do all of my lead generation from here as well. And yes, it does back into or connect with Gmail or Outlook as well. And yeah, they sort of sell you on the base model and then you upgrade. So that's something worthwhile looking at as well. Finally, I just wanted to take you to Hootsuite, which is a, I'm going to get this right, Hootsuite. Yeah, which is a social media platform. So while the others are CRMs and you can track your sales and you can track your leads, Hootsuite's really around just tracking social media. It's free to start, but what I really like about it is you can manage in advance scheduling of things that you might do through social media. So if any of you like me and you're starting to dabble in this, and particularly in Facebook, it can take up a lot of time. But let's say you set up a Google alerts for a particular topic and you started to follow some people and you had some really good, let's say, collateral information. You could then schedule what you're going to do over the next couple of weeks rather than try and manage that every day or give that to somebody else to manage. So it's a really nice tool for analysing the sort of traffic you're getting, but also for scheduling in various platforms as well. So it's a free tool, but yeah, look, it does make managing your profiles and analysing what's happening and whether you're, whether it's increasing or decreasing, or whether it's worth investigating and investing in that particular tool over time. And as you can see, my Twitter growth has been growing, but I've been focusing more on it. So you can sort of see good data as well. So that's a good, I guess, dashboard or platform to manage, your LinkedIn, your Twitter, your Facebook, your Gmail, or Google Plus as well. Okay, hopefully I haven't bored you to death. I've done a little bit on social marketing. I don't want to go through every slide. You can do that. There's a couple of others here. Rapportive is a good tool. If you just want to connect that into your Gmail, that'll give you a lot of the functionality that I was talking about with Nimble. Sprout Social is similar to Hootsuite, but it's a bit more expensive. So most of you would be better to start with Hootsuite first. And there's a couple of others up there. I don't think you can really go past Hootsuite in terms of having an integrated approach to your social marketing. And the other thing that you should really be aware of, and I think this is the reason I want you to set up a Google Alerts, is this word of mouth. So word of mouth is becoming more and more popular. There's lots of different sites, but I think Womo's almost the default for small business. It's similar to TripAdvisor, or if you were looking for, I guess TripAdvice, this is similar for services and small businesses. So have a look at it. If you're not on there, maybe you should get yourself listed and definitely curate the reviews that you're getting, because whether you like it or not, people are going to write about your services. You may as well be in control of that. So, reviewing online is becoming more and more important. And as we move to more a mobile platform, I think you'll find that that's even more important as we go forward. Touched a little bit on search. Another one is Moz. They're really good. They've got some great tips. And in our forum, we give a lot of tips around SEO and cheat sheets on that as well. Now, no doubt you're feeling something like this. I can't hear you laughing, but I'm assuming that you are. But, I guess the starting point for you is to go back and look at this list of tools. We've covered a couple. If you've got some more information that you'd like on any of them, I guess the starting point is to email us or to go on to the portal that we're going to provide you after this. And the portal will give you so many tips and tools so that you can leverage this and get this up and running for yourself if you want to. And I know a lot of you will want to do that because, money is precious when you're a small business. So that's what that portal is about. Jules, any questions that I could answer?
Andrew asked one about the best simple, I'm thinking that's
content management
system
application. So thanks, Andrew. I think really go back to this cheat sheet for that. Look, if it was me, as I said, I went through Capsule, but I've listed a few here. Some people like Zoho. So a lot of people like Zoho because it's easy to set up. So Zoho, Nimble or Capsule will probably be one of my three top at the moment. Having said that, if you've got a MailChimp account, you can actually use that to host data, but it won't really forecast for you. What I really like about Capsule, and there's a couple of others that I listed on here. Let me just go back a little bit so I can find it. Even Pipedrive. There's another one called Stride. Both Pipedrive and Stride are apps, so you can actually put them on your phone. Just search for them. That means that if you're a mobile and out and about, you can actually put in the data on your phone and then it'll sync into your laptop. Another one called Base. Really love any of those. It's called Get Base if you want to have a look at that. I've tried all of them because I'm a bit insane, but Capsule, sort of leaning towards that at the moment. I like the social integration. I'm sure the others are going to catch up with that pretty quickly. Zoho's okay. It's catching up, but it integrates really nicely with Outlook. So that might be something that you want to consider. How do we get testimonials from customers on website and Facebook? Really, really good question. If you are using WordPress, you can probably search testimonial app and it will add one that you can add to your site. Let me just go in and see if I can do that for you now. There's reviews on Facebook. You just want to optimize for that and get people to try and do that, and then, you know, copy them and paste them back into the app on WordPress. Let me just go into my site and I'll show you that while I'm looking for something else. What else have we got there,
Is
Jules?
Wix a good CRM?
Yeah, interesting. I was helping a client with Wix the other week. Look, Wix is fine for a starting based website. Where it falls down is integration. So, you know, it's sort of like WordPress. Unless you're a little bit of a geek, you can find yourself a bit out of your depth. If you're just using it for a flat couple of pages, a bit of an intro, yeah, look, I think it's okay, but it's not where the market's moving. The market is moving to more personalised pages. It's moving to more interaction. But look, Wix, for what it's worth, if you don't have a website and if you're just starting off, it's a fine solution. It's very easy to use. It's just when it integrates into other things, it's a little bit clunky. I'd probably go to WordPress before I went to Wix. But saying that, you've got to be a bit IT savvy. So probably give it a go.
Do you think YouTube testimonials are better than
Written ones? I think you need both. In terms of testimonials, look, some people will want to have a look at the video, but some people prefer to just have the written. If you have both, that's a nice mix. I tend to have audio, video, and written. So try and get both if you can. The best place for professional services to have is LinkedIn, without a doubt. So if you're a professional service, that is, if you do consulting of any sort, you definitely need to have it on LinkedIn. And the reason that I say that is you can always take it off LinkedIn and put it on your website, but you can't do the reverse. And now LinkedIn's becoming almost the default for professional services directory, that you want to have it on there first. If you're largely a consumer audience, then, you know, I think your website or Facebook is probably the default. Let me just go down here and see if I can find this. What is it called? So I've uploaded something called U Square into Facebook. That's a really nice little plugin that allows you to do little customized icons with a story behind it. And I'll show you the front end of that. I'm just trying to look for, I think it's called listed comments. Settings, let's put in the settings. So there's something called random text. Random text in WordPress will allow you to place testimonials across your site. I'm not sure about other platforms, but definitely in WordPress. Let me just go to the front of this site so I can show you the U Square, because I think that's something you can apply to any site. And that's a nice little thing. So other than having testimonials, what else can you have? Well, I think it's really important to have success stories and to prove what you do. So people don't want to just see what someone else has said. They want to see what you do. So what we do is we actually list our clients, but we also have success stories as well. So these little icons here have been developed out of that U Square app. And what it allows me to do is add a coloured block, and then I can add some links to their website for this particular client. So you can go in and join them. You can click into this and actually get some more information about what we did. I think that's a really nice little app. So within one page, you can see what we've done for other people and connect and actually see the whole story. So that might be something that you want to look at as a plug-in as well. Let's have a look. What else have we got here? Regarding social media, what's the best way to have a personal and business account? Yes, okay. Oh, the last one's called U Square. I've got for you again, just while I'm looking at the other ones. Okay, so what's the best way to have a business and personal account? Look, with social media and Facebook, you have to have a personal account first. The thing that I would do is, and I'm doing this for a client, you don't have to publicise your personal account. It's your business page that you want to push from. So you have a personal account if you've got your brand wrapped up in your identity. So I do podcasting, I do, talking like this, webinars, face-to-face stuff. So I have a brand associated with just Dan McInnes. So, and that's why I've got my blog, DanielleMcInnes.com. If you don't, and it's actually wrapped up around your business, which frankly is a better way to go because you can sell it later, then you don't need necessarily to have that personal account. So you need to make that call whether the business is focused around you or whether it's focused around the business name. But either way, you'll find that most platforms will ask you to sign up with your personal name first. One of the best things you can do if you actually do have something around your identity is to claim your own URL. So that means buy it. So go to crazydomains.com and go and buy it. You should buy it for your kids anyway. And that will just be something you might need later on down the track. At least it gives you that choice. Random Text was the one for adding text, and the other one was called U Square. So U Square, you can probably just go on and search, and the guys that built that will come up for you. Let's just see if there's any other.
There was an earlier question.
And I'll see if I can.
Any app for a sale going on?
Any app for a sale going on?
That was an earlier question.
Okay. So for sales that are happening, look, I just think FreshBooks. I'm going to take you into there for a moment. So I don't know how many of you are using FreshBooks versus Mile versus Xero. Xero are prettier apparently, but I kind of like FreshBooks. The reason I like FreshBooks for a sale, and this is a piece of software that can do estimates, you can do time track, you can do invoicing reminding. So all of my clients can go in and see exactly what I'm doing, and they can't see each other, but they can see their account. I can time track in this tool, so I can do each project, how long I'm spending or Jules is spending on it, and the client can see that. So I think that's really good because there's never any surprises. But the really good thing from a sales point of view is I can estimate for clients what I'm doing in here and send it to them directly, and they can approve it. So from a sales, quoting platform, this is a great one to have. If you don't use something like this, there's lots of other apps out there that would achieve a similar thing. I'm not sure if I put them in my platform. I'll just quickly have a quick look. I don't know if I put any others in there. Oh, another one you might want to look at is Fiverr. If you want a job done for $5, a lot of freelancers are trying to get into that video space. Mind you, I always try and support local, but sometimes that makes sense. And sometimes they are actually local people just trying to get their foot in the door as well. Let me just see. I don't think I've got something else on apps for I'm just having a look. No. So mostly for sales, I've really just put in the apps for deal making, if you like, rather than quoting. I guess the only other thing that I would use, and I think this is a really important one, is SlideShare. So SlideShare is where you can update slides. I've actually updated this slide set, and that's what you'll be getting a link to afterwards. The reason that that's important, particularly again in professional services, is to show your expertise, a little bit like YouTube. It is searchable, and it is a great way to sort of demo content. So if you're a sales rep or if you're out on the road and you want to do a lot of presentations, I think this is a good application. One that's equally as nice is Prezi. So if you haven't seen that as well, what I like about that is it's really interactive, and it looks like, you know, a diagram is moving. One of my clients, Forex, has got a great presentation on here about how their business works, and that's a good sales tool for someone to build their, I guess, presentation in. And that could be for any business. It doesn't have to be, you know, for example, professional services. It could be, you know, that you're just doing a product or a demo. It's a really nice tool, and it pretty much plays. So you can see that it's a little bit animated and it looks kind of groovy as you're going through. So a nice one to have on your laptop or tablet as you're going out to see people as well. Kind of nice one. I mean, I could go on all day, but I'm conscious. Any last questions that I could
another
answer?
one that's come through.
Yeah.
I've had mixed my personal and several
Business accounts. Yeah. How do I delete existing channels and keep the channels legitimate? Yeah. So if you've started off having, say, a personal account in Gmail, and now you want to have a business account, it can get quite confusing. So probably, Rachel, the best thing we can do is have a chat with you afterwards.
Nancy.
Nancy. We can have a chat with you afterwards. There is a way to untangle it. And look, it's a bit hard because a lot of us would have set up, you know, yonks ago personal accounts, and now these things have become more visual, and you know, the integration between business and our personal lives it's more intertwined, and then detangling that can become there's a few decisions that you need to make with relation to that. So we might have a chat offline about that if that suits you. Okay, well, I hope this has been useful for you. I know it's a lot to take in, and I think the key message is there's lots of applications out there. Please be resourceful. You know, I always say Google first. Even more than Google, try and put in things like cheat sheets or PDF or presentations so that you actually come up with some tools rather than just a website. So that might be something that you want to keep in mind as well. There's a lot more questions. I'll just see if I can answer a couple more because I've got a few more minutes. Okay, so if you're getting lost in the sea of email, which some of you are, there's a really good app called Roll. I think it's called Roll Up. Let me just see if I can find it. Roll Up. And it actually was Unroll Me. Okay. Unroll Me, really good app, helps you, I guess, bunch together a lot of stuff that you're getting in your email. So Unroll Me is a really good one to perhaps try. What happens is, if you're anything like me, and Jules will attest, I get hundreds of subscriptions, and you no longer might want those subscriptions from time to time. So you can use something like Unroll Me, which I'm going to use later on, to get rid of some of those. So I found out about that the other day. But I think what you're answering, asking Andrew, is a little bit more about how do you get some reminders to take action. Look, I think that's why you need a CRM or something like Nimble, Zoho, you know, something like that, so you can actually set up tasks, because otherwise it's going to be too difficult. You know, you can set up folders within your Outlook. I just don't think that's as proactive as having it in a CRM. So that might be a way forward for you. if you've got more than one website and you're trying to serve different regions, you really need to make sure that you've got the right URL. So it might be, if you've got .com versus .com.au, that might be a way to solve it. The other thing is to have a landing page and then direct them to each website. So instead of going to each individual website, maybe you bring them to one domain and then send them off. And sometimes that's the way to do it as well. So I might leave it there because I know that's a long time for people to sit without going to the bathroom. I hope you found it useful. And again, we will zip this up as a probably a YouTube and send it to you later on with the slides. So thanks everybody for joining, and look forward to perhaps seeing you on the forum at some time later on. Thanks again.